y'all. What's up, y'all? It's me, Erica. Somebody said what is it that I say when it's me, Erica, y'all be laughing? It's funny. Let me see. I got a Starbucks card, so I'm about to use it today. What did I get from Starbucks? Y'all want to know. Somebody wants to know, I'm sure. Because I'm nosy, too. Because I'll be like, ooh, she went to Starbucks. What she get? So I got a vanilla chai tea latte with soy, extra hot. Because I'm freezing. It says it's 34 degrees out here. That's number one. Number two, my eyebrows look like goddamn Frida Kahlo mustache. My eyebrows look a mess. I haven't done my eyebrows in I don't know how long, and I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. But I need to go get them done. It does amazing things to frame your face, you know. I always believe that. But what was I talking about? Yeah, I'm cold. It's 34 degrees. And I didn't put the right jacket on. I just ran out the house. I'm back at work today. I wish I could work from home today. But I gotta go back to life, back to reality, back to the here and now again. I was gonna see what's on the radio, but I'm not doing that this year. I don't want to hear nothing from YouTube talking about anything. I don't want nothing from them. Nothing at all.
Good morning. 475 today. Excellent. This receipt is going to have the remaining balance on this card for you.
Okay, thank you. Box card. Okay, honey. I'll be trying to get me to watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. I told you I'm not watching that shit. I heard it was getting good. Somebody at my job was trying to tell me to watch it too. Thank you. Can I have a small straw? Small straw.
Okay. I'm hard of hearing sometimes. Have a great day.
You too. I'm hard of hearing sometimes. Nigga, shut up. Can you hear that? Shut your ass up. Anyways, I don't now. When I tell you I don't have nothing to talk about today, she doesn't. She really doesn't. I was looking online trying to see what the hell was going on, and the diva's pretty much out the loop, you know. I just woke up yesterday morning. They was talking about what's her name doing her show, and how she didn't do well. So that was really only thing I had known was people was talking about, and you know that's the only thing that I was seeing what was going on. This is not extra hot at all. If I could suck it through a straw, it ain't extra hot. That's why I don't go to that Starbucks. They always get shit wrong. Always. But they so nice, it be so nice. That's the reason why you go back. But they get your shit wrong as fuck. Yeah, so that was the only thing I really saw. I have been really watching a lot of television over my break. A lot of documentaries. I watched this documentary called 3 Identical Strangers about these kids that were separated at birth. This set of triplets. Is it a set of triplets? They came from this adoption agency, this Jewish adoption agency in New York, and they were separating kids at birth, twins, and not telling the families about it. And these triplets found each other, and they got real famous and popular, like in the 80s. In the 80s they got real popular. They found each other. They were on like talk shows and stuff like that, and going to clubs. But then it found out that one of them, the one that was the most jovial, the one that was the life of the party, was dealing with bipolar disorder, manic depressive bipolar disorder. They had a lot of similarities from when they were children. 2 of them used to bang their heads or hold their breaths until they passed out, and then bang their heads on walls. 2 of them used to do that. But they separated them without telling them. That was the big fuss, was that they were trying to do a study on nature versus nurture, and what similarities twins would have if they were not raised around each other at all. And the set of triplets so happened to they ended up finding their mother. Turned out the mother was an alcoholic, or she turned into an alcoholic, but she was a teen mom. Turned into an alcoholic. One of them was ended up committing suicide. They didn't know. They had attributed to the parent. They didn't know anything about the parent. Wanted to know if the parent had any kind of mental illness and was it hereditary. And then they tried to find the adoption agency has since closed, but the records from their research are sealed into 2066, basically until everybody's dead. So they really they can't really get in trouble, because everybody who started the damn research, they found a couple people who are there very, very, very old now, very old people. And one of these women, she's this real like high society, Jewish lady, and they said they didn't understand why they were doing, they were trying to do a test with nature versus nurture, but why they didn't tell the families that the children that they were adopting had siblings, identical siblings, everybody was really upset about that. It was really good though. I was very interesting. It was sad. They looked so much alike, mannerisms, everything. And what they said was, while we were looking for things that made them alike, we forgot to look up at the things that made them different. And they had, that one of the brothers, he was depressed and he ended up completing suicide. And it was just really interesting. And then I really wish that they could get the study, you know what I mean? So that they could find out what were the conclusions. I just found it odd that because one of the kids that ended up committing suicide, the family that he came from, the father was a disciplinarian. And the other one came from a family where his father kind of doted over him, loved him. He was his father's everything. And the father was really upset because he said that he would have taken all three of them. And it was really strange because the father, who was a disciplinarian, that was the child who was the most jovial and like the life of the party, and just, it was sad. And what else documentary did I watch? Oh, I watched this Netflix series. It's a foreign, I think it's German. But it's about these group of kids who have an obsession. It's called Perfume. It's about these group of kids who have an obsession with smell since they were teenagers, and it follows them throughout their teenagers. They start them off in like a coming of age era, and these kids, they're in a boarding school, and they become obsessed with smells. And one of them becomes obsessed that he starts killing people, and they become obsessed with people's pheromones, and how people turned out that a lot of people were I'm not going to tell you who the killer was, but it was kind of interesting trying to figure out who actually was doing the killing. It was four guys. I want to say 4 guys and 2 girls. And it's very interesting because one of the girls, she ends up as a teenager getting raped by these 3 boys. They all end up becoming, I guess, friends. They all end up becoming like a group of friends. And she gets raped by 3 of the boys, and one of the boys ends up taking her home, and as they fast forward, she ends up marrying him. And he's abusive. He cheats on her. He abuses her. She won't have sex with him. When she does, she cries, of course, because their first encounter was that he raped her, and then he ended up marrying her. It was crazy. But she was kind of a jealous girl because he was cheating on her with the other girl that was in their friend group. And everybody loved this girl, and they're attributing that to her pheromones. And one of the detectives had taken the bra off of one of the girls and wore it, and she was cheating on. She was a mistress of one of the detectives, two detectives, a male and female detective, and he was married with children, and she was his mistress, and they're working on this case together. So he's trying to tell her he doesn't want to see her anymore. I think his wife kind of figuring it out. And then she wears the girl's bra, and he kind of like ravages her. Like it's like she's like, okay, so this, in part of her investigation, is like this woman's pheromones are causing people to just be like, oh my God, I need to be with you. And that was what this woman was. It's interesting because it goes back and forth following them. But it's actually a pretty good film. I was like, okay. But one of them somebody starts killing people, and when they kill them, they take off all of their hair, and they take off the skin and the glands from underneath their arms and in their pubic area, where your pheromones are. And it's so interesting. That's actually a really interesting film. Then I watched a film. I've already watched it twice because I find it extremely fascinating. It's called Struggle. And it's about this Polish sculptor named Stanislaw Szulkalski. I want to pronounce his name wrong. Right, but his first name is Stanislaw. I had to look him up, and I figured he was a mutable sign, but he's a Sagittarius. And he was just this art kid in the late 1800s. Went to art school in Chicago from Poland. Went to art. It follows his life. But what happened was this guy, the way that this guy found him was that he was doing research and saw a book with this man's sculptures in it, and was like, why have I never seen these sculptures before? These are magnificent, these are incredible, these are everything that is amazing about sculpting. Who is this man? And then he was in a bookstore, and the woman was like, he actually lives like a few miles from here. He brought the book over here and told me that I could sell it, put it in the bookstore and sell it. So he ends up going to meet this man, and this man ends up telling him his life story, and his life story is so fascinating. And from a child to an old man, this man has had a grand life as a sculptor. And he tells this kid who finds this book, they were kids at the time, young adults, finds his book, and then he starts going over to the man's house, and then he ends up talking to the man, and the man was like, I'm going to tell you about history. And he starts telling him about the wars, and when I tell you, his sculptures are fucking amazing. I mean, like, amazing. And then the way that he speaks about life, and the way that he speaks about philosophy and religion and history and art history, and it's I've already watched it twice because I found this little old man to be so endearing and just so cute and still have a sense of humor. Just an old man. And this old man is just sitting somewhere in Pasadena, California, and he's dead now because they found him like in the 80s, and he was already old man, like on his way out. And he ends up, the producer of the show is one of the producers is Leonardo DiCaprio's father, who was one of the men that was friends of the guy who found this old sculptor. It was really good. I've already watched it twice. And his when I was just looking at his work, and it's just like, he had all his work, it had been destroyed in the war. It's just amazing. I've watched it twice. It's called Struggle. It's very, very, very interesting. The story is very, very interesting. It's very endearing and very heartwarming. And because it just made me think about elders and how sometimes you just got to sit down and talk to them, because they have stories. They have, their life to tell. And this man just sitting, in his home, little 1-bedroom house, and these kids found him and started talking to him, and he ended up writing, they ended up videotaping him talk about his books that he had written about history. Just basically, it was amazing. I don't know. I don't want to give too much away because I thought it was really, really good. And when you look at this man's sculptures, you're just amazed. Like, this man, and then they showed one that he did right before he died, and he still had it. Was still so creative and just amazing. Like, how do you have that so much detail? Oh my God, it was so good. What else did I do on my vacation? Really nothing. That's why you guys weren't really getting that much videos, because I wasn't in the car that much. And I did a couple videos from home, but that's about it. That's it. I don't really have nothing else to talk about. There's some old news, like Chloe asking for a biracial doll for her child, her biracial child. Then there was, who else was it? Not Cardi B. Nicki Minaj and her boyfriend. She's still posting pictures of him. And people were saying about Nicki Minaj, about how how she is going with this guy, and she's this woman of this certain caliber. But is she? You know what I'm saying? I think that we believe that when you get a certain amount of commas in your account, that your behavior is going to change. And really it doesn't. It really only shows exactly the person that you are. I truly believe that. You don't change when you get money. You become the person that you really are, that you truly are, And maybe, I don't know. I really can't, because I could say, I don't know, if I'm trying to think, at her age, did she have a chance to make relationship mistakes? I mean, Safari seemed to be a relationship mistake. You know what I mean? Meek Mill, that seemed, I never understood Meek Mill and Nicki Minaj's relationship. I didn't get it at all. The fact that him and Drake are cool, I wonder how that makes her feel. I don't know. I just find it, I find it weird, because I was just looking at pictures. She looks extremely happy. You know what I mean? But like I said in that story about those 3 identical twins, the most jovial one in the group is the one who committed suicide. It's the one who had the mental illness. You know what I'm saying? So when you say people look happy, a lot of people look happy. You know what I'm saying? But are they happy? I don't know. I have no idea. I just want to be at home. That's all I want to do. I'm going to another office today. But I really want to be at home. I really want to be in the bed. It's finally warm in here. I was listening to Sean Bradley this morning. He said he got a sale at Old Navy. I need to take my black ass up to Old Navy and and get some things for the boys. What else is going on, y'all? Nothing else. I figured, I was gonna just give you guys a little dose today. We'll have some things to talk about as soon as I get online and see what's going on. I don't want to talk about the government shutdown. I was watching remember I told you yesterday I was watching the series called The 90s on Netflix, and they were talking about when the government was shut down and how I think it's clearly manipulation to say I'm shutting the government down unless you give me something that you don't even agree with. So I'm going to in turn shut it angers me that all of this, to me, I just feel like he's being allowed to do it. When people say, oh, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen, and this, they impeached Bill Clinton for telling another person to lie under oath. If they were ever questioned, Monica Lewinsky, that's what he got impeached for. He wasn't removed, but I think the impeachment was acquitted, I think. Because when I remember when Bill Clinton got impeached, but I was, a young girl, so I was just like, didn't really pay attention. But now watching that 90s decade, go back and watch it, because watching it with new eyes as a different adult, you know what I mean, and a new age, new ideas and everything else in your mind, you can see it a little bit differently. But yeah, the Clinton affair, you can watch that. But in the 90s decade little special, they talked about that, and that's what he got impeached for. That's what the impeachment was for. And then it was because, we already know the story, but I'm thinking about this guy. You talking about impeaching and what he's done. He's done way more than I just don't get it. I just don't understand it. And to me, based on that alone, it makes me feel like everything he's doing is being allowed to do. I think I've said it before that the one good thing about him becoming president was that I thought, this is what my thinking was, and I feel like you basically just put Gargamel in charge of Smurf land, basically. That's what happened. But I thought that there was going to be a deconstruction of the way that the government works, and it's not, because he's not a politician. He doesn't care about politics. He really is just a real extreme narcissist who just wants to see his name on television. Like, it doesn't matter what it's for. It doesn't matter if you're getting impeached. It doesn't matter if they're saying that you're a liar. It doesn't matter if they say that you're the greatest person. It doesn't matter what they say. He's being fed, like he is being fed off of seeing his name. That's all he wanted to do. Like, I feel like it was a bucket list item. And because you are this white man in America, you are really allowed to do whatever the fuck you want to do. And this is an example of that. I've always said that he is the birth child of what America truly is. Because they always say, well, America's not like this. This is not what America is. It absolutely, every time somebody says this is not what America is, it absolutely is what America is. This idea of what America is why so many people put their lives at risk to get over here only to be marginalized and oppressed with the rest of us. The idea, whatever the tagline is, where at least I know I'm free, all this other shit, like those are all this is an ideal of what American value system is. It is individualistic, it is selfish, it is greedy, it is slothful, it is envious, it is jealous, it is greedy, it is fat and overweight. That's what America is. Like, that's what it is. And everything that man embodies, when you look at him, that is America realized. And nobody likes the way America looks, because that is exactly who it is. That orange person. And he don't give a fuck about a Republican. He don't give a goddamn. And I'm looking at that 90s special they show when he threatened to run for president back then. And it's not, and this idea that he's this great businessman, that's a lie, you know? I don't know. I just think it's just so weird. I really feel like he's just being allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants to. And under the guise of, like, I really feel like he is a real, an extreme distraction. And I'm not one to say, like, oh, don't pay attention because, you know, you're unable to pay attention to two things at once. I understand that. But it's like, I think the media, when they spend so much time analyzing his behavior and then, like, being completely like, oh my God, I don't get why he's acting like this. No one wants to admit that that's who he is. America's baby. He is if America were to have a baby, that Donald Trump is who the baby is. Exactly everything from beginning to end. Entitled, spoiled, privileged, rude, ignorant, con artist, gaslighter, narcissist, all of that. All of those things. That is exactly who he is. And when people say, oh my God, you know, I'm just like, he's being allowed to do everything that you guys are saying. That to me, I just feel like, getting back to my thought, I just feel like focusing on his behavior is really, it really only boosts him up. It doesn't do anything else. If they were to actually focus on the politics of the United States, then I think that you could probably get more done. When the media stops being like appalled and I just don't understand why he's acting like this, and when they get away from that, can you not tailgate me, please? Please, I don't feel like getting into no accident. I just don't. God. I don't understand why people tailgate. What the fuck is that? Where are you fucking going? It's not gonna make me go any faster. Cocksucking ass bitch. Go around if you're such in a fucking hurry to the point that you gotta be on somebody's fucking bumper. I didn't look green. Oh, I got a chai latte. I thought I got a green tea chai latte. I'm like, why is it not green? Anyways, my skin feels great. But anyways, she wants to fucking play with me. I'm not playing with these bitches today. Anyways, I need to be, see, that's why I need to be at home. I'm out of here. All right, y'all. Take care of each other and protect your energy. Peace.